stop what you are doing right now. Put the phone down on the table, turn up the volume, and listen to me very closely for the next few minutes. Because what I am about to share with you today is not just another list of healthy tips. It is a fundamental rewriting of the biological rules you have been told to accept. If you are over the age of 55, 60, 70, or 80, you have been sold a massive, dangerous lie by the modern medical system. You have been told that waking up with stiff joints is normal. You have been told that feeling your legs get heavier every year is just part of aging. You have been told that losing your balance, losing your energy, and losing your independence is the unavoidable tax you pay for getting older. Today I am here to tell you that is a clinical falsehood. It is a lie of omission. Your body is not breaking down because you have crossed a certain chronological age. Your body is breaking down because it is biologically starving, chemically inflamed, and structurally neglected. I am going to give you the exact medical truth today. I am going to break down the 5 absolute pillars of biological reversal. We are going to talk about how to literally rebuild your muscle tissue, flush out the systemic inflammation that is rusting your joints, and restore the vascular highways that feed your brain and your heart. But before I give you this protocol, I need to share a statistic that should serve as a massive wake-up call. A comprehensive review of longevity data published in the Journal of Gerontology revealed something terrifying. Over 60% of adults over the age of 65 who experience a major mobility loss, meaning they can no longer walk unassisted or get up from the floor, do not experience that loss because of a disease. They experience it because of progressive, unchecked, and entirely preventable muscle and vascular decay. They lost their independence not to an illness, but to a lack of proper biological maintenance. We are going to stop that decay right now, today. But before we get to step 1, I want to ask you a personal question. Go to the comments right now. Tell me your age, tell me where you are watching from, and tell me the one physical activity you used to love doing but has stopped because your body feels too weak, too stiff, or too unstable. Is it gardening? Is it walking the golf course? Is it getting down on the floor with your grandchildren? I read every single comment. Your story matters to me, and your story might be the exact reason someone else watches this video and changes their life. Take 10 seconds and leave that comment. Now, let's begin the protocol. We are counting down the 5 critical interventions for biological reversal. Number 5. We are starting at the cellular level with something the medical community calls intracellular hydration. Now, do not roll your eyes and think I am just telling you to drink 8 glasses of water. This is infinitely more complex and more important than that. As you age past 60, your body's ability to hold water inside the actual cell decreases dramatically. You can drink water all day long, but if your cell membranes are rigid and compromised, that water just flushes through your kidneys and down the drain. You remain biologically dehydrated. Think of a dried-out kitchen sponge. If you pour a glass of water quickly over a stiff, bone-dry sponge, the water simply bounces off and runs over the sides. The sponge remains dry on the inside. That is what is happening to your muscle cells and your joint cartilage. When your cells are dehydrated, the mitochondria, the power plants inside your cells, cannot produce ATP. ATP is the chemical energy that allows you to stand up, walk, and breathe. Without it, you feel a bone-deep chronic fatigue that no amount of sleep can fix. Furthermore, your cartilage, which is the shock absorber in your knees and hips, is roughly 80% water. When it dehydrates, it flattens. Bone grinds on bone. The inflammation sparks, and you end up with crippling osteoarthritis pain. How do we fix the sponge? We have to change the water and change the cell membrane. You need to consume water that contains trace minerals, specifically sodium, potassium, and magnesium. These electrolytes act as the keys that unlock the cell membrane, allowing the water to actually penetrate the cell. First thing in the morning, before coffee, before food, I want you drinking 16 to 20 ounces of room temperature water with a pinch of high-quality Celtic sea salt or Himalayan pink salt and a squeeze of fresh lemon. The trace minerals in the salt pull the water into the cell, and the lemon provides an alkaline-forming environment. I had a patient, Richard, 73 years old, from Phoenix, Arizona. He came to me complaining of severe afternoon fatigue and constant dull aching in his lower back and knees. He was drinking coffee all morning and maybe a glass of tap water at dinner. We implemented the mineral hydration protocol immediately upon waking. Within 10 days, Richard called my clinic. The afternoon brain fog was gone. His knee pain had reduced by 50%. He wasn't miraculously cured of aging, but he finally gave his cells the fluid dynamic they needed to function. Drink the mineral water. Fix the sponge. Let us move to number 4, the vascular highway. If you want to know how long you will live, and more importantly, how well you will live, look at your blood vessels. Your entire circulatory system is lined with a delicate, microscopic layer of cells called the endothelium. This layer is responsible for producing a miracle molecule called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a vasodilator. It tells your blood vessels to relax, to widen, and to allow oxygen-rich blood to flood into your heart, your brain, and your legs. Here is the tragedy of aging. By the time you reach 65, your body's natural production of nitric oxide drops by an astonishing 75%. Think about a massive 6-lane highway that suddenly gets reduced to a single lane. Traffic backs up. The cars cannot get to their destination. In your body, the cars are oxygen, white blood cells, and nutrients. The destinations are your aging muscles, your heart, and your brain tissue. When your blood flow restricts, your legs feel heavy and cramped. Your blood pressure skyrockets because your heart is trying to push blood through tiny, constricted pipes. Your brain gets starved of oxygen, leading to cognitive decline and memory fog. We must force the highway back open, and you do this through dietary nitrates. We discussed this briefly before, but we must go deeper. You need to flood your system with raw materials that your body can convert back into nitric oxide. The undisputed kings of this process are beets and dark leafy greens like arugula, Swiss chard, and spinach. When you chew these foods, the healthy bacteria in your saliva actually begin the chemical conversion of nitrates into nitrites, which eventually become nitric oxide in your stomach. This is why you must chew your greens thoroughly, and why you should never use harsh alcohol-based mouthwashes that destroy your oral microbiome. You are literally washing away the bacteria that keep your blood pressure in check. A landmark study from the Queen Mary University of London demonstrated that just 1 glass of beetroot juice a day significantly lowered blood pressure in patients with hypertension, with effects lasting up to 24 hours. It literally opened the pipes. If you want your legs to feel light, if you want your heart to pump effortlessly, you must eat a massive bowl of leafy greens or roasted beets every single day. Pour a heavy dose of extra virgin olive oil over them to absorb the fat-soluble vitamins, and chew them slowly. Before we hit number 3, if you are finding this clinical data valuable, I need you to hit that like button right now. It's a small action for you, but it tells the algorithm to push this potentially life-saving information to millions of other seniors who are sitting at home thinking their chronic pain is just a normal part of getting older. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, click that subscribe button. We release this level of deep, clinical, evidence-based data every single week. Join the community right now. Let's dive into number 3, the anabolic switch. We're talking about muscle tissue. Sarcopenia is the medical term for age-related muscle loss. It is the silent killer of the elderly. You do not feel it happening day by day, but over a decade, your muscles simply melt away, replaced by marbled fat. This is why you cannot open the jar, why you cannot get out of the deep chair, and why a simple trip on a rug leads to a shattered hip. Most doctors will tell seniors to eat more protein. That advice is lazy, incomplete, and biologically insufficient. When you turn 60, you develop a condition called anabolic resistance. This means your muscles become deaf to the signals of protein. If a 20-year-old eats a piece of chicken, their muscles immediately start building new tissue. If a 75-year-old eats that same piece of chicken, the muscle barely registers it. The signal is too weak. To break through anabolic resistance, you need a massive spike of a specific amino acid called leucine. Leucine is the master switch. It is the heavy hammer that bashes down the door of anabolic resistance and forces your body into muscle protein synthesis, the actual creation of new muscle fibers. You need approximately 2.5 to 3 grams of leucine in a single meal to flip this switch. You cannot sip on bone broth all day and get this effect. You cannot eat a tiny piece of toast with peanut butter. You need high-quality, bioavailable animal protein. We talked about eggs previously. Let's talk about high-quality grass-fed beef and wild-caught fish. A 4 to 5 ounce serving of lean beef or salmon delivers the exact leucine threshold you need to trigger muscle growth. You need to hit this threshold at least twice a day. Let me tell you about Sarah, a 68-year-old patient from Chicago. She was a vegetarian for 20 years, surviving mostly on pasta, salads, and small amounts of beans. She was painfully frail. Her bone density was plummeting, and she had experienced 2 falls in 1 year. Her body was eating its own muscle tissue just to survive. We had a very difficult clinical conversation. We transitioned her to a protocol that included wild-caught fish and high-quality Greek yogurt daily. We flooded her system with bioavailable leucine. After 6 months, she gained 4 pounds of lean muscle mass. Her grip strength doubled. Her balance returned. She didn't just add years to her life, she added life to her years. Stop starving your muscles. Feed them the leucine they are begging for. Number 2 on our countdown: the bone matrix and the calcium trap. Osteoporosis and osteopenia are terrifying realities for aging adults. The standard medical advice for the last 40 years has been to take massive calcium supplements and drink milk. I am here to tell you that taking high-dose calcium supplements without the proper biological directors is one of the most dangerous things you can do to your cardiovascular system. When you swallow a calcium pill, that calcium enters your bloodstream. But calcium is stupid. It doesn't know where to go. Without the right hormonal signals, that calcium does not go into your bones. Instead, it gets deposited in the soft tissues of your body. It calcifies your arteries, creating arterial stiffness and massive plaque buildup. It calcifies your heart valves. It calcifies your joints, creating painful spurs. You are literally turning to stone from the inside out. To put the calcium into the bone where it belongs, you need 2 master directors, vitamin D3 and vitamin K2. Think of vitamin D3 as the bouncer at the door of your gut. It allows the calcium to be absorbed from your food into your blood. But vitamin K2 is the traffic cop. Vitamin K2 activates a protein called osteocalcin, which actively grabs the calcium out of your bloodstream and cements it into your bone matrix. Simultaneously, vitamin K2 activates another protein called MGP, which sweeps your arteries clean and prevents calcium from building up in your blood vessels. If you are taking calcium without vitamin K2, you are playing Russian roulette with your heart health. You must source vitamin K2. It is found in fermented foods like natto, in high-quality grass-fed butter, in egg yolks, and in dark meat chicken. But for many seniors, a high-quality D3K2 supplement is a clinical necessity. When you combine weight-bearing exercise, even just walking with a weighted vest or carrying heavy groceries, with adequate leucine, vitamin D3, and vitamin K2, you do the impossible. You halt bone loss. In many cases, you can actually stimulate osteoblasts, the cells that build new bone, to increase your bone mineral density. You armor your skeleton against the falls that devastate so many lives. And now we have arrived at number 1, the absolute apex of biological reversal. If you do everything else on this list but ignore this final pillar, your body will still rapidly degrade. Number 1 is the eradication of systemic, chronic inflammation through the optimization of the gut microbiome. We call it inflammaging. As you get older, your immune system begins to misfire. It loses its precision. Instead of fighting off viruses and bacteria, it starts a low-grade, constant, smoldering fire throughout your entire body. This fire damages your DNA, fries your nervous system, and accelerates the aging of every single organ. The control center for this immune fire is located in your gut. Your microbiome, the trillions of bacteria living in your digestive tract, houses 70% of your entire immune system. After decades of eating ultra-processed foods, taking rounds of antibiotics, and enduring chronic stress, the good bacteria in your gut are wiped out. The bad bacteria take over. They produce toxic compounds called lipopolysaccharides, or LPS. These toxins leak through your intestinal wall into your bloodstream. When your immune system detects these toxins in the blood, it sounds the alarm. It triggers a massive, full-body inflammatory response. This is why your brain feels foggy. This is why your skin looks aged. This is why your joints throb. It is a systemic alarm bell, ringing 24 hours a day. To put out the fire, you must heal the gut lining and repopulate the microbiome. We do this through a massive influx of polyphenol-rich foods and fermented biological cultures. We talked about extra virgin olive oil earlier. It is the ultimate anti-inflammatory weapon. The oleocanthal in genuine high-quality extra virgin olive oil literally suppresses the inflammatory enzymes in your body, acting identically to ibuprofen, but without the kidney damage. You need to consume this liquid gold daily. But you must also introduce fermented foods, raw sauerkraut, kefir, kimchi, and unpasteurized miso. These foods contain living, transient bacteria that travel through your digestive tract, changing the pH of your gut and aggressively hunting down and destroying the pathogenic bacteria that are causing the inflammation. Simultaneously, you must feed these good bacteria with prebiotic fiber, garlic, onions, asparagus, slightly underripe bananas. The bacteria eat this fiber and produce a miracle compound called butyrate. Butyrate is a short-chain fatty acid that acts as a powerful anti-inflammatory agent for your entire body. It heals the gut lining, stops the toxins from leaking into your blood, and signals your brain to turn off the inflammatory alarm. When you heal the gut, the fire goes out. The joint pain subsides. The brain fog lifts. Your body shifts from a state of constant panic defense into a state of profound cellular repair. I want you to look at this entire protocol: hydrating the cell with trace minerals, opening the vascular highways with dietary nitrates, forcing muscle protein synthesis with leucine-rich foods, directing calcium into the bones with vitamin K2, and extinguishing systemic inflammation by healing the gut microbiome. This is not a list of suggestions. This is the biological operating manual for the human body after the age of 60. You were not meant to fade away into a quiet, painful, restricted life. You were not meant to watch the world go by from a recliner because you are too afraid your legs will give out. Your biology is waiting for you to take command. Your cells are desperate for the raw materials they need to rebuild. The medical establishment will gladly give you a pill for your blood pressure, a pill for your cholesterol, a pill for your pain, and a cane for your weakness. But they will not sit down and explain the biological power you hold at the end of your fork and at the bottom of your glass. I am giving you that power today, but I cannot do the work for you. You have to walk into your kitchen tomorrow morning and make a completely different set of decisions. You have to throw away the ultra-processed garbage that is rusting your body from the inside out. You have to demand more from your diet, demand more from your doctors, and demand more from yourself. It is never too late. I do not care if you are 65 and feeling slow, or 85 and using a walker. The human body retains a miraculous, staggering ability to regenerate muscle tissue, build bone, and create new neural pathways until the day you take your final breath. You just have to flip the right biological switches. Take this data, implement it, reclaim your mobility, reclaim your strength, and take back your life. Thank you for your time, thank you for your focus, and as always, never accept a diagnosis of just getting older. You are the master of your biology. Start acting like it today.